A staple in local airwaves celebrates a milestone and honors all those who played a role in turning NEPA into Warmland. The JCC in Kingston. At the JCC Kingston, setting for the 65th anniversary celebration of Warm Radio, WARM. The mighty 590 AM became Northeastern Pennsylvania's #1 radio station almost overnight, held that spot for decades. Tonight, several of the on-air personalities were in attendance, including one of the last members of the Sensational 7, Tommy Woods. The station's personalities were so big that in its heyday, Warm Radio was reaching the masses all year round.
We played all over Warmland, and Warmland just wasn't Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Hazelden. It was out in the boonies from Binghamton to the Jersey Shore. So, you know, if you go down the Jersey Shore back in the day when there was 5 towers of power, you could hear WARM radio.
Boy, he still has a great voice, doesn't he? The celebration included a screening of Warmland Remembered, a WVIA 2003 documentary reliving the memories that made Warm Radio legendary. Skateboarders and bikers are rallying in the Poconos.
Bobby Day, B-O-B-B-Y-D-A-Y.
And you are a Warm DJ, correct?
Warm DJ, sports announcer, reporter, the whole ball of wax.
And I have run to you in sports all the time.
Yeah.
So you just told the newspaper girl, your years of service.
35 years total with Warm Radio, whether it be full-time or part-time, yeah.
From when to when, Bobby?
1968 to 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight's about the 65th anniversary celebration,
right.
Correct?
Yep.
Is that actual celebration today that they went on the air?
It's the year. It's the year that they went on the air. And of course, they went off the air basically in 2002 when they just disbanded everything and put everything on the whirlybird out there. And of course, fortunately, I was able to get a job at WBRE the same day. But yeah, they were wonderful years. WARM had the most talented personnel that you could ever imagine. Not necessarily me, but Tommy Woods, Terry McNulty, George Gilbert, Aaron Allen, and just so many people. Harry West, you know, Lenny Wallace. And, just a fun time to be there and a fun time to work with these guys. These guys were talented and creative.
And they were known as the Sensational 7. Where did that come from?
They came up from the Sensational 7 in the early days. Tommy Woods inside here tonight is the last member of the Sensational 7, as it was called. And yeah, they're just so talented that everybody listened to Warm. They had the highest rating in the country. And if you had a radio, you knew it was set to 590.
And Bobby, in those days, like you said, the ratings in the country, that's just unconscionable to think of that, right? I mean,
yeah, over 50% share of market, and it was just unbelievable.
And you attribute that to the seasoned professionals.
The professionals, the promotions, they ran such fantastic promotions. And even sports, we had the Warm Double Dribblers basketball team. We had the Warm Softball Softies softball team. We played all over Warmland. And Warmland just wasn't Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Hazelden. It was out in the boonies from Binghamton to the Jersey Shore. So, you know, if you go down the Jersey Shore back in the day when there was 5 towers of power, you could hear WARM radio.
And people like me, whether it's cold or warm, what's our slogan?
Oh, it's only warm for me.
Anything else? So what exactly is happening tonight behind us?
What's happening tonight? They're showing the video from WVIA, and then there's several of us are on a panel where the people inside. It's quite crowded inside. We'll ask questions of each of us, whatever our memories were or what have you. So it's going to be an interesting evening.
So it's an open Q&A.
Right, exactly.
And Bobby, I haven't been in there yet. How many people are in there roughly?
I bet you 200.
What does that mean to you? 200 people on a nice hot day, they could be in their pool right now. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, just people remember Warm. It was engraved, you know, in their minds and in my mind. I grew up with it. And then when I got a call in 1968 from George Gilbert saying, "Come on to Warm," oh my God, it was like, are you kidding me? And yeah, it was just fantastic. Yeah.
About an hour. Really? Or close to it. Is it hot enough for you?
It's only warm for me.
That is perfect. All right, thank you very much. Right? You probably spent 86% of your life being... I remember the girl that I went to commotion with years ago, and she still remembers me and says, I'm still a rotten dancer. But he was a member of the Sensational Seven. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Tom Woods. Warren arrived with his online WARMLAND program. So Bobby, this is Bobby Day. Come on up. All right, now the next person is a person into going because
It would be free.
okay.
You want me to tell you the salary?
If you would want to, that
All
would
right.
be okay.
I started with WARM in 1961, and I was making $85 a week, but they promised me a record hop, and that was an added $25. Not bad. So I was getting paid pretty good.
Because I started in radio.
I started radio for $30 a week. Then it was $35, then $65, and $85. Not bad. But we did it for nothing when you look at it now.
Okay, well, I'll pass it down to Bobby Day. Would you have done it for nothing?
As Tommy said, we did. Yeah, it was, I'll tell you what, like Lenny Wallison said, we probably would have done it for nothing. The fun involved, and I do want to say that I had the opportunity to work with every single one of those guys that are on that video. And they were just, you cannot match the creativity and the friendliness, the professionalism of those guys on there. Especially Joey Shaver. Joey took me under his wings in 1963 to teach me the radio business and help me along. And he did. He worked with me all the way through my first job in 1965 at WNAK. And then WBRE, and then WAZL in Hazleton. And in 1968, George Gilbert gave me a call, and I thought he was kidding. And he offered me a job at Warm Radio. And to Joey, my dear friend from high school, I've known Joey since high school, and just to him and his wife Judy. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been in radio. But I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I still do, as Dave mentioned. When Warm went in the say it, the toilet. And in 2002, Rob and I were the last two members of Warm Radio at that time, and they turned the lights off, and that was the end of Warm Radio. And anyway, about a week later, the business manager calls me up and said, come on up, we have some stuff for you we want to get rid of. And so I went up. They gave me the entire music library and all the master reels of all those famous jingles. And they are now my property, and I thank them for it. And I do a show on the internet to remember Warm Radio, WARMLAND, on Wednesday nights, unless I have a hockey game, then it'll be on Thursday night. But on Wednesday nights, it's an IP address. If anybody's interested, I can give you a little card with the IP address. It's from 7 to 10 at night. You will hear bits of the Pineapple feature. You'll hear Bushy Bosco. You'll hear George Gilbert. You'll hear Harry West. You'll hear Lenny Wallison. Just little bits. We play music most of the time, but we throw all the jingles in. All the jingles are Warm jingles. So if anybody's interested, I could give you a card with an IP address. But it's just something I wanted to do to keep Warm alive. And a lot of my friends are here that, there they are over there. They have assigned the Bobby Day fan club.
There you go. Wow.
Two people, really. But they're faithful listeners every Wednesday night, and like I said, I do the show from 7 until 10, but if I have a hockey game, which is scheduled this game up, we have 10 Wednesday hockey games this season.
Wow.
So, I email people. Once you email me, I'll put you on the list and let you know when the show, if there's any changes on the show. But I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Richard, for having us here tonight.
And to tell me whether or not Operation Snowflake was into effect. And all of those horrible. Well, he called to offer me a job, him and Chris Norton. They called me, they wanted me to co-host the Harry West show. Now, here I am, like you. Harry West, an idol. All of those guys up there, as an idol. And all of a sudden, I'm co-hosting the Harry West show. And I had worked at an all-news ABC station in Denver and all over the place by then. But I sat down that first day, and I'm sitting next to Harry, and all of a sudden you hear, Harry West show, and I got goosebumps. I couldn't believe I was actually sitting with Harry West doing that show. And going back to those terrible jokes, I don't know how many of you heard Harry tell the story or the joke, hey, I had a nightmare last night. I dreamed I ate a giant marshmallow, woke up, my pillow was gone. The first joke he told, with me sitting next to him, was that joke. And it was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? But the other thing is, just like Bobby Day, working with all of those magnificent, crazy, creative people. Can I tell one quick story, David?
Sure. Yeah.
This is
Am I going to stop you? No, of course not.
This is a Terry story. Think of this. Here we are, all these years later, we're watching these guys, and how many of you started laughing at Terry McNulty's stories? You know? And one that wasn't up there, Terry also had a knack of making up commercials. And you never knew, they were so good you didn't know if they were real. And he would drop them right in the middle of a commercial stop set. And one day, here are these commercials running, and all of a sudden you hear this polka music in the background, and Terry promoting a video. The Polka by Yourself video, as seen on WVIA. $10 will teach you how to polka by yourself. I can't tell you how many checks came in. Any of you send? Do you know how to polka by yourself? Bobby sent in too. Those are the things. I mean, I remember working with these immensely creative people. And that's why we're here remembering all this. You know, I remember just like you did, but thank God I had the privilege of actually working with them. And I cherish every minute of it.
One of the things you're talking about with Terry McNulty is he basically had the theater of the mind. And essentially, we all, I think, in our imaginations, when they mentioned Pushy Riva Vasco, we might have said to ourselves, my God, that's the neighbor down the street. Or my God, that's my godmother and godfather.